Alright, well, it's been probably a good year now since I've actually done a review, so I'm going to go ahead and jump back into it, try to make it a little more regular from now on. Moved into a new place, and I have got things finally situated the way I want them, so I think I'm back to a place where I can actually do this and not have roommates with little kids running around and, just making it hard to do reviews. I'm going to jump into this with one that I'm actually quite fond of. We're going to do Generation Scoop today, and I wanted to show him off with all the other little Target Masters that I had him displayed with. And of course, there's Nightbeat, who originally was a Headmaster, and I realize that, but unfortunately we haven't had Hasbro or any third parties give us that as a option yet, so I went ahead and made him a Target Master with the rest of them, so he still kind of fit into that Master scheme. And I threw in one of the little third-party Target Masters that I have with Hot Rod and Cyclonus and Cup and, of course, Scourge there. And I think it works really well. I'm going to go ahead and cut and get rid of these guys, but I wanted to show them off, and I think that's actually a really good display option on your shelf. So, jumping out, and we'll be back in a minute. And we're back, and the guys will all make a reappearance, of course, in their own proper reviews, because they need one, but I wanted to start out with Generation Scoop here, because I just really love the homage to the Generation 1 Double Target Master. It was a really cool idea back at the time, and of course, back then, Scoop was a brick. The Target Masters were the epitome of a brick. They were nothing. They did a little bit of folding, that was it. You couldn't do anything with them. So, I just really love what you can do with this guy, how you can pose him. He's gotten a lot of hate in the Transformers community, and while I see their points, I don't really agree with all of them. He's got some gappage in his vehicle mode, and of course there's a little hollowness like in the legs. But honestly, if you look at a lot of the stuff that's even supposed to be Masterpiece these days, look at Masterpiece Bumblebee. The hollow forearms, of course, that's going to be there on a deluxe. Look at how poseable this guy is. He can really strike a pose, and I just dig that. Another thing that I really dig with this guy, and I just think they did a great job here, and I'll try not to blind you guys in the process, but he's just got some really epic light piping. Let me try and zoom in on that here, get a good shot. That just glows. I think that is awesome. And, these little Target Masters, I think they did a great job. Show you here with the transformation, and it's the same thing for both of them, so we'll go ahead, move this guy out of the way for just a second. Give you a nice little close-up of his gun. I think that's freaking epic. I do. And the other one is pretty much the same, just some different colors. And give you a nice little top shot there, side by side. One barrel as opposed to two barrels. And I think that's pretty cool. They even made a nice little difference in the arms. I think these guys, being as simple as they are, they did a really nice job. And for transformation, it's real simple. You just flip that peg up, pull the arms out from behind him, and of course you see there's the entire robot underneath. Yes, it's all there. Hi! Yeah, there's not really much they could do about that. And you flip the gun nozzle down, and there he is. He just stands upright. He's a really nice little guy. And, of course, the other guy's the same thing. We'll just do him real quick. Won't go into explanation. Honestly, the details on that give you a nice little shot there. The details are amazing. The posability is pretty limited. If you don't like that peg being underneath there, you can just pull it out. It's just a couple of little pegs that keep it clipped in by friction. Me, I want to keep it there so I don't lose little parts, but the arms are actually pretty expressive. They can move in and out a bit. Obviously, up and down, full 360. Nothing on the head, nothing on the legs, but, they're just little Target Masters. What do you expect? So, we'll go ahead and get these guys out of the way, and, they don't have to stand up right now. Bring this guy back in, because he's kind of the star of the show. He's really a nice bot. He's got a little bit of hollowness, like in the inner thigh, back of the legs, but, if you're looking at him from behind, then what kind of collector are you, really? He's got some pretty expressive upper body movement. I mean, if you get him standing right, because he's got that natural A pose. Get that toe flipped down. I like that he has the toe articulation. You can really get some nice poses out of him kneeling that way. And go ahead and zoom back out here so we get a nicer shot of him. He's actually got some really expressive shoulder action going there. I mean, he's just imposing when you have those shoulders up like that. You can really get him battle ready if you want. So for going into articulation, he's got a nice ball-jointed head. You get a little bit of up and down there. You get some side to side. We'll go ahead and move him back off to the side. My camera's off-centered, so it makes it a little hard for me to do the reach around. I really don't know how a lot of you reviewers do this from behind the camera. Granted, my arms are a little shorter than, the average person, so it's probably a little harder for me to reach. But, yeah, still, I have full respect for you guys that do this all the time. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. But for articulation in the arms, he's got up and down. They're just on a nice ball joint in there. Nice little hinge going on in the elbow. Wrist, in and out, hinge there. The wheels, they move nicely. We'll show that in vehicle mode. The legs are actually really articulated. He's got ball joints in and out. It's a little bit restricted, by depending on how you have that ball joint positioned going against the hip there. But still pretty nice. He's got twist at the upper thigh, which I've always thought was a lot more natural. I mean, I don't like it when the twist is down here. We don't bend like that. I don't think they should. But he's also got, of course, as you saw, toe pivot there. Just goes up, doesn't go down. But, it still makes for some nice poses. And if you want to, you can call the scoop an articulated point. It does move, and you can adjust it however you want. But proper transformation is tucked up against the back. Now, something else that I forgot to go into, it does come with this nice comic book, as, most of the Generations Deluxes are these days. And it's, I love the artwork. I don't get what they're doing with the comic books, though. They almost seem like a pointless waste of money. There is no rhyme or reason whatsoever to it. They don't go in chronological order. 90% of the time, they have absolutely nothing to do with the character that they're being packed with. Or they may have the character in a frame or two when there's an entire issue devoted to that character that they don't bother to put with it. So it's, to me, I would almost want them to take that comic book out and use that part of the budget to make this figure the best that they can make it. That's me, that's my thoughts on it. I love the character. I think they did a great job with him. The G1 character was kind of a favorite of mine growing up. It was almost sort of my unicorn in a way, or one of them. It was there at a store when I was a kid with my dad and my sister, and I saw it, and I was like, can we get it? Can we get it? Well, they were maybe next time. Got there a few days later, and it was sold out. So I was a little bummed about that. It was, G1. It was a brick. These little things. There's not much articulation to them, but, if you ever saw a picture of the G1, they are nothing. They are absolutely a brick. Nothing at all. So I think they did a wonderful job with these guys, too. And, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't go into a little more detail on them. We've got Caliburst here and Hole Punch are the names of the two little figures that come with them. I think that's really a cool touch. It's a toy that comes with its own toys. It's awesome. Alright, so going into transformations, get these guys out of the way. We're going to start out, tuck the toes up, and then we're going to pull this little chest piece out. We're going to go ahead, pull this out of the way, get it out of the way for you. Me, I like to flip the head around. It's not in the instructions, but that way when you're in vehicle mode, you don't have a face poking out at you. It's not perfect, but it's a little more natural. Then we're going to go ahead, take this entire assembly. It's going to swing out so that you've got these yellow hinges towards you, so that you've got these going straight up and down. Then we're going to go ahead, straighten out the arms the best that we can, like so. and doesn't always like to work well with me. We're going to take the hands, tuck them in, and this is probably a little bit out of order, but I'm just kind of doing it the way that I probably would, naturally playing with it on the couch or, whatever I'm doing. Then we're going to go ahead, take the waist, and that just folds right up like that. Things like to get in the waist, just kind of move them out as you go. Then we're going to go ahead, take the top assembly, we're going to bring it up like that, and it just swings over. We're going to take the legs, and they clip together kind of, sort of. I'll try and show you this. There is a peg right there, and a hole right there. And I'm trying to do this in my viewfinder as I do it. And again, I'm reminded of just how talented some of you reviewers are doing this behind the camera, because I can't. And we've got a couple pegs right there, if you can see by my finger. They are going to tuck into a couple of slots just right there by the toes. And something about this one in vehicle mode, nothing really tabs in and locks in securely. And I'm not a huge fan of that, but honestly, compared to the G1, I like it. It actually almost has a G1 feel to the transformation. I just really like the way the legs flip around, cover like it would in the G1. A lot of things did carry over, and I'm actually kind of a fan of that. Now, going back to transformation, you've got a couple of tabs on the side here, and I'm a little bit leery of that because they're not thick, they're not solid, they're not secure, and that's pretty much what locks this entire thing together, and that kind of worries me. We are going to go ahead, and if I can get this to line up right, we're going to try and line it up so that this entire assembly brings that hole to line up with that peg. And we do the same thing on both sides. And it doesn't lock in very securely, and the tabs are kind of thin, so you want to try to be careful not apply a huge amount of force as you do it. But that's kind of the nature of the game, I guess, when it comes to the Transformer Deluxes these days. And not everything wants to line up very well for you, so just kind of make the best that you can of it. Try to get it as straight as you can. Try to keep these straight on the wheels. Doesn't always want to, but, it's all you can do. This chest piece, there are a couple of pegs, if you can see them there, right there and there. Those are going to actually go ahead and lock into a couple of holes on the upper arm right there, if you can see right above my finger. And that's kind of a fun one to try to line up too. And now we get to another issue that people like to gripe about. Yes, there's a big gaping hole there. Me, I like to leave the shovel so that it's covering that. You don't even see that hole. I don't care about that hole, okay? It's not an issue for me. I think that looks really good in vehicle mode. It's really reminiscent of the G1, which for me is a big thing. It's a nice update to it. It's got 4 wheels and it rolls nicely, as things with wheels should, because I guess in reviews we have to point that out. Apparently it's a thing. Then we're going to go ahead, take our Caliburst here. We're going to go ahead and transform him again. Nice simple transformation. You can, if you want, peg him onto the side. There's a nice hole there. It doesn't really look good. There's a hole there. That doesn't look great either. You can put them on top, and neither one of these like to line up where they're shooting straight ahead because of that cockpit. But you can do it. It's a thing. Same thing with hole punch here. You can do that. You got a hole there, you got a hole there, hole there, hole there. And again, I'm trying to do this in my viewfinder, so bear with me if I'm not, doing it perfectly well. But nice little thing about these guys. Take a hole punch here, do a nice quick little transformation on him. The arms just peg together, peg port, peg port. And again, these things are very much like the G1. If you want, you can take your arms, get them out of the way, because they didn't really do these perfectly. There's a hole right there. You can line that up, peg that in, and you can do the double stack thing like you did in G1. Not a thing for me, don't really care about it, but it's there as an option, because options are always good. And to get him back to robot mode, because that's really where he shines, let's be honest. We're going to go ahead, get this out of the way. We're going to pop this out carefully. Try to be careful of those pegs on the sides, because I'm sure at some point that's going to be a thing that we have to worry about down the road. And then we go ahead, take our legs, unpeg them if you can. And of course, once I said that nothing really pegs in securely, that's when he wants to make a liar out of me. Flip your legs out, spread them, go ahead, pop your toes down, pop your toes down. We're going to go ahead, take his waist, flip it up. We're going to pull his arms out of the way, and then we're going to take them and flip them so that they are nice and flush against the chest. Flip the chest piece back up, flip this out of the way, and it's on this really articulated assembly. You can bring it down like that, bring this back, and then we're just going to tuck the shovel to cover the pit, the cockpit, whatever you want to call it for your supposed driver. We're going to take his arms, bring them down, pop his hands out, and it wasn't this hard for me any other time that I was doing it off camera. Pop his arms, his hands, out, and there we go. And then go ahead, flip his head around. Get him in whatever stance you want to put him in. Then we're going to go ahead, take your Target Master, we'll go ahead and give him a gun. The pegs like to rotate on you, so just, get whatever angle works best for you, get it in the hand. There's him, and then I'm going to go ahead, take calibers, do him off camera, we'll get him into a nice little pose, and yay! We have come to the end of our second official review. I actually have 3, but apparently one of them is locked as private, and I can't figure out how to get it unlocked. It's just kind of a overall review of what my collection was at probably about 3 months after I started collecting. Been collecting for about a year now, and I'm actually pretty happy with how it's coming along. I'll do another collection spotlight here eventually down the road. Unfortunately, I don't have the packaging to show you guys. I do have the packaging for like 95% of what I've got collected, but this was towards the beginning when I figured, I'm a Transformer collector, I'm not a box collector. And I still kind of feel that way, but some of the boxes, as I went, I decided, they're just really freaking well done, and I'm going to go ahead and hold on to them. But anyways, that's my review of Generation Scoop, one of my favorites. I know I'm kind of in a minority in the Transformers community on that viewpoint. A lot of people don't like them, and I see their points. I don't necessarily agree with them. I think this is a really well done, really articulated, nice homage and an update to the G1 figure. This has been Hyper92, and I hope everybody has an awesome day. Thank you so much. Take care.